That sky, it's still blazing. Alright, let's get out of here before I make another stupid attempt at a joke. Alright, we are moving on now to the sand rivers of Sheroll. Sheroll, however you pronounce that. This is actually a fairly straightforward and short level, like most of these in-between levels are. If you remember the waterfall sections from Mario Bros. 2, this is pretty much what that is. The only difference is sometimes you have to move back a little like this, and there are platforms that will shoot spikes out of the side. And there's the occasional dragon here, but it's not much to worry about. The only real trick to this one is just not getting caught up in accidentally jumping into the spikes on these platforms. Now there is a trick to this, little sort of. There are two different things you can do. One is you can study the timing and just know when the platform's coming and jump right on top of it. Or you can abuse a sort of a hit detection thing. When you see the spikes coming out of the side of these platforms, 9 times out of 10, if the spikes aren't fully extended, and that's the 1 time out of 10, if the spikes aren't fully extended, they won't damage you when you grab onto the side of the ledge. And that makes it a little easier to get through this section. Now, moving on to the Gateway of Eternal Storms. Now, I'll admit I had a really stupid death in this one earlier, but that's not going to happen this time, because I have editing powers. You're familiar with these from some of the earlier sections, these wheel bastards. They're going to be sort of complicated to deal with later on, but not really. If you want to get through this section really easily, you can just keep using your Dragon Slash to hit things from a distance or in groups. As we're going to demonstrate a little later on, I'm actually saving it right now so that I can use it for these later sections. Now these guys below are sort of like the generic enemies that walk back and forth, but when you destroy them, a little spider thing comes out. Not much to worry about, and the cannons you can knock back like this when you aren't Dragon Slashing them, which I'm going to be doing often. But yeah, you can get the cannons to just aim at a wall, and then they won't be a problem to deal with. Now, for this next section, you're going to notice I'm running low on magic power. What I'm going to do is, when the enemy is off screen, it always appears in the same place, so you can time it up so that you can hit both of these guys with a Dragon Slash. Ah, now I have 4 points. This will be a little easier now. Whenever you can knock an enemy off the edge, do it. It'll save you trouble. It's less of a risk of getting hit. It'll save you magic points. Just do it whenever you possibly can. And this will be the last jump here, and we are out. And now we can move on to the next boss stage, the Storm Fortress of Kilar. Now this is a fucked up stage, because you are constantly standing on wind currents. So you're never actually on solid ground this entire time, and you see how you rebound whenever you land somewhere? This is going to become a little tricky later on. It's not a particularly long level, but it is a little complicated. I'm going to show you what's over here, just in case you're low on health. You can go for that health power-up. Now the thing about this is, since you're constantly on wind currents, you can't duck. And there's a particular section coming up real soon, right here. If you try and duck and hit these bats, it's not going to work out well for you. You're probably going to take damage like I just did here, although it's not much of a problem because there is a full health power-up right there. Now, your goal this entire time is just to move to the right, like most of the levels so far. But you're going to have to do it by riding these wind currents, and this doesn't seem too bad now, but there are a couple more sections ahead where it gets a little complicated. And there are 1-ups scattered around various parts of this, but most of them are placed where they are specifically to lure you into falling off the stage. and you have to hit up on these doorways, otherwise you're never going to get through them. Now you have to jump forward a little bit on this one so that your momentum will carry all the way to this wind current. If you don't do that, you're probably going to fall off the edge of the stage. And now we're going to wait a little bit while this guy comes forward so we can kill him. Do the same thing, jump forward. You'll get hit by this guy if you do that, but you're going to have more health power-ups later on, so it's not that much of an issue. Alright, same deal here. Jump into the current. And yeah, see where that 1-up is? That's a down current. You can't get that. Well, actually, it is possible to get that. It's a little tricky. You have to go back through the opposite direction, through the downward current to get the 1-up, and then up the up current. This is the trickiest section so far. You have to jump forward into this one, into the up current. Now, when you hit the top of the upward current on the other side, you can jump again. That'll get you high enough to get into this up current, and then you have to jump again to get to the next up current. It sounds simpler than it actually is, because you have to time the jumping just right, otherwise it won't always register. And there are these guys. I'm taking a lot of stupid hits in this one. I always do better in the practice runs, I don't know why. Now for the boss, which I believe is called the Harpy. Now there are a few different ways you can go about this one. The Harpy splits into 3 and then attacks you with that tornado-looking thing that you just saw. The most common way to go about this is to take out the clones, and then when you find out what the real one is, use Time Stop, and then just beat the shit out of her until she explodes, like everything else in this game. What you can also do, though, is time it up just right so that all 3 of them, or at least 2 of them, get hit by your Dragon Slash. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it is possible. And like I said, I like to make things more difficult for myself. And as you can see, if you defeat the real one, the clones just disappear. And now you're going to get a rather fun special ability, Lightning Strike. Now, contrary to what it shows there, lightning does pretty much fill the screen when this happens. Now there is actually something else I could show you, but I'm going to go ahead and save, because I don't know how long I've been recording for. But next time on Skyblazer, I'll show you that special thing that I didn't show you before. Okay, that sounded wrong. Later.